Hello viewers, I am Mr. Dilip Kumar Pal, stands before you with a very important topic of global politics which is found in paper number 10 of 4th semester. Today's video relates with debates on state sovereignty. And so far as the debates on state sovereignty is concerned, mainly two aspects of state sovereignty have been focused. One is origination of state sovereignty, and number two, components of state sovereignty. It means when state sovereignty has been originated and what consists of state sovereignty. So I request my viewers to watch this video attentively till the end, so you will be clear when state sovereignty has been originated and what are the components of state sovereignty. I request my viewers, if you have not subscribed my channel, subscribe it and request your friends for the same, so many students will be benefited, because help to other is service to God. Let us start. Debates on state sovereignty. We'll discuss first of all its origination, then components. Let us start. In the subject global politics, a chain of basic principles are found. Among these basic principles, debates on state sovereignty is regarded as a basic concept. And so far as debate on state sovereignty is concerned, mainly two aspects have been discussed. Number one, origination of state sovereignty, and number two, components of state sovereignty. So first we'll take up origination of state sovereignty. The Westphalia Treaty was signed in 1648 at Osnabrück in West Germany. But prior to 1648, there were nations but not states. There were nations means there were nations but they do not have sovereign power. They were under Roman Church spiritually and Roman Empire politically. So prior to 1648, there were nations but not states, because these nations were not independent. They were under Roman Church spiritually and Roman Empire politically. So people of same race, people of same community were living together without any sovereign power. So they were nations, not states. But in 1648, for the first time, nations were given sovereign power. And nations became states. So states got sovereign power in 1648 on the basis of Westphalia Treaty. And in the Westphalia Treaty, it was mentioned that states are sovereign within their own boundary. States are master. States are sovereign within their own boundary. Number two, it was mentioned in the Westphalia Treaty that no state will interfere in others' territory. No state will interfere in others' territory. Everybody will give respect to other state. Number three, every state respect to each other's right rule. Every state respects to each other's right rule. So, origination of state sovereignty has come on 1648 Westphalia Treaty onwards. Then in 1933, when in Montevideo Convention was convened, which is in Uruguay, in that conference, it was mentioned that state must have sovereign power in addition with population, fixed area and government. In the Montevideo Conference, in the Montevideo Convention, it was also made clear that in order to become a state, there must be 4 elements like population, fixed area, government and sovereignty. Sovereignty is a must for a country. And it was decided that a state must have full power over its territory. A state, in the Montevideo Conference, it was decided that a state must have full power, absolute power over its territory. Then, by the establishment of UNO, it was decided that all states are equal irrespective of their military and technological superiority. And when UNO was established in 1945, it was decided that all nations are sovereign nations. A nation must have sovereign power, otherwise it cannot be a state. A state must have sovereign power, and all states are equal irrespective of their military strength and technological strength. Again, at present, it is acknowledged that all states are equal in international forums. At present also, it is acknowledged by all that all states must have sovereign power, all states are equal. No one is superior than the other. In international forums, in international organizations, all nations are treated equally. So this is how state sovereignty has been originated. Now discuss what are the components of state sovereignty. What components state sovereignty has? State sovereignty has 2 components. One is internal sovereignty or internal components. Number 2 is external components or external sovereignty. A state sovereignty must have 2 components. One is internal sovereignty, other one is the external sovereignty. Both are necessary. So what is internal sovereignty? Number 1. A state can make and unmake any law within the country. A state can make and unmake any law within its boundary, within its geographical area. Number 2. A state can enforce its own law. A state can make law in its own boundary and it can enforce its law. Number 3. State can make any decision relating to its citizens. A state can make any decision relating to its citizens and residents. Number 4. It can adopt any constitution. State can adopt any constitution. For example, America has adopted a written constitution. Britain has adopted a party written constitution. India has adopted a written constitution. So it is up to the state to adopt which constitution. Number 5. No foreign state can interfere in its affair. No foreign state can interfere in its affairs. A state is master within its own boundary. Finally, a state has exclusive jurisdiction within its boundary. A state has exclusive jurisdiction, absolute jurisdiction, full jurisdiction in its own boundary. State is the master in its own boundary. It is internal sovereignty. Then, in addition with it, there must be external sovereignty. External sovereignty has following important things. Number 1, a state is totally free to frame its own foreign policy. No state can force a state to adopt a particular foreign policy. The first principle of external sovereignty is that a state can frame its own foreign policy. No state can force another country to frame a foreign policy in a particular manner. A state has full power to frame its own foreign policy. It will decide with whom, with which country it will have relationship. It will decide with which country it will not have its relationship. Number 2, a state is free whether to carry on order of any international organization or not. A state is free to decide whether it will carry out the order of an international organization or not. It can violate the order of an international organization also. Number 3, a state is totally free whether it will become a member of an international organization or not. It cannot be forced in this context. A state is free to decide whether it will become a member of an international organization or not. Till now, Switzerland is not the member of UNO. So it is up to the country whether it will join in any international organization or not. Number 4, a state is totally free to adopt its export and import policy and decision to give MFN status to any country. A state is free to prepare its export and import policy. It will decide which product it will export to other country. It will decide which product it will import from other country. No other state can force a state to prepare its import policy, export policy on his direction. A state is totally free to adopt any type of import and export policy. Again, state is free to accord or give MFN status, most favored nation status, to any country. Nations are giving MFN status, most favored nation status, to any country. Whenever a nation will give MFN status to any country, then whenever goods from that country will come, there will be no taxes on that goods. For example, Russia has given MFN status to India. So whenever Indian goods will go to Russia, there will be no tax on Indian goods. So it is up to a country to give MFN status to which country it wants. No country can be forced. There will not be any outside pressure on a country to give MFN status to any country. Then, a state is free to join in any international conference. It cannot be forced in this context. Whenever a state is free, whether it will join in any international conference or not, a state cannot be forced to join in any international conference. It is up to the state whether it will join in any international conference or not. Finally, it is up to state whether it will carry on decision of international conference. No doubt, a state may join in an international conference, but it is not bound to carry out the decision of the international conference. It may join or it may not join. If it will join, it cannot be forced to carry out the decision of the international conference. So in this video on the debates on state sovereignty we have discussed, when state sovereignty has been originated. It has been originated from 1648 Westphalia Treaty, which was signed at Osnabrück in West Germany onwards. Before 1648, there were nations, not states, because nations had no sovereign power. And these nations means people of same race, same community where they live. It is a nation. But whenever people of same community, same race will live together and they will have sovereign power, it will become state. So state sovereignty has come after 1648 when Treaty of Westphalia was signed, and it was decided that a state is sovereign in its own boundary. No foreign state will interfere in its affairs. Then in Montevideo Convention 1933, it was also decided that a state must have sovereign power. Then when UNO was established, it was also decided a sovereign nations are equal in the international forum. No sovereign nation is superior to other. Then we have discussed components of state sovereignty. State sovereignty has internal components and external components. And in the internal components we have discussed 6 components, and the external components we have discussed again 6 components. I request my viewers to watch this video attentively and make best use of this video. And its Odia version is also available in YouTube. Thank you. I request my viewers to give comment. At least I will know from which college you belong. Thank you. Make best use of this video. Till now, goodbye to all.